Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Mike. Hi, everybody. Hey, it's Lisa Derby Oden here, Project Development Coordinator at Mass MEP. And as you can tell, I'm here with our friend Mike O'Neill, who's ready to jump in and get started with this interview. And I know it's going to be awesome. How are you today, Mike?
I'm doing very well. I did a client visit today. It's really exciting when I get out of the house. So love that.
I get that. Well, so you're talking a little bit about your job to start out with. It must be that you're telepathic, and you know that my first question is going to be, what do you do at Mass MEP? Tell us what your job is and what it's like on a day-to-day basis for you.
Sure. So all the field staff will know kind of what it's like, but I'm a project manager here at Mass MEP. I work in the northeast part of the state. I just like not having to drive to Worcester every day. I can't tell you how thrilling that is, but what I do is work with little manufacturing clients primarily, try to help them understand what their needs are, whether that's training or consulting or technology, anything that they need. I try to understand it, and probably like everybody else in the field, whatever it is that I can provide for them, I do that directly, and whatever I can't, or if I feel there's somebody better qualified to do that, I try and bring those resources to bear to help them. So, it involves all kinds of things with a small company: sales, execution, writing proposals, things like that. So it's really probably the most thrilling job I've ever had in my entire life.
You know, that's great. And I just want to let you know that it's not just the field staff that will be listening to this interview, right? So,
I realized that after I said that, so I did try to fill in a little bit more about.
well, you did a great job with that. But yes, we do have field staff in every part of the state, and there are some of you that are fortunate enough. Of course, COVID has changed some things, but some of you are fortunate enough to be able to work out of your home office on a regular basis, which is the not driving to Worcester that you were talking about. So
Yeah,
I
well,
totally.
yeah. I think we'll understand a little bit more why I have an aversion to driving to Worcester when we talk a little more. But
Okay.
uh,
All righty. Well, so that's great. I know that you've been at Mass MEP about the same amount of time that I have. You joined a couple of weeks or something after I did. And so why don't you tell us, like, how long have you been at MEP? How did you find your way to MEP? And tell us about your career path, how you got to the point of arriving on the doorstep at MEP.
yeah, sure. Um, well, I've been here since 2012. Um, January of 2012, I joined, and so that's 8 years, 6 years.
You're in your
Well,
you're in your ninth
2020.
you're in your ninth year.
Oh, thanks. Good heavens, time flies when you're having a good time. Yeah, that's something else that the old mental calculator just has gone on the fritz. So yeah, so going on 9 years. That's quite a while, and it's how did I get here? Well, I had, prior to this, I had worked as a general manager for a paper mill. It was an independent paper mill in Worcester, Massachusetts. And
Here comes the
there
driving
you go.
story.
And so I still at that time was living on the North Shore, and it was, pretty much 75 miles to the 10th each way from my driveway to the parking lot at the paper mill. And I got a loathing of driving all that time, all the time. And so that was going to be a break. When I was interviewing first at Mass MEP, I said, so where am I going to be working? Because I'm not driving here every day. I said, oh no, you'd be working mostly out of your house. So that worked okay for me.
So had you seen like an ad for the position at Mass MEP, or were you connected through somebody who was working here? It's kind of interesting to hear everybody's different
It,
story about.
it was, I think it was an ad because I spent, a couple of months kind of trying to clean up some of the loose ends with the paper mill after it closed down. Not getting compensated for that, but there were things that I thought there still might be a glimmer of hope of getting it restarted. You grow attached to people. I had worked there for 11 years.
Yeah, yep.
So, and I knew that a lot of the people who worked for us just would never get jobs that paid that well again. But once hope died, I started, just putting out feelers. And I think it was an ad. I don't really remember anymore how I got in there. Somebody else might have clued me in that you guys were looking for something. But I reached out and, I interviewed with first Jim and then Jim and John Killam. And just the rest was history. It seemed like a good fit. So I was really happy to join. So prior to that, as I said, I was a general manager of the paper mill for 11 years. That was, the world's longest turnaround, because that's why I was brought in to actually get the thing profitable, which we did on an operating basis, but unfortunately not on we had just dug such a deep hole. Even prior to my joining, it's one of the reasons they got me in there is the balance sheet was horrible. I mean, really, really. In fact, people had said, this is the worst balance sheet I've ever seen. I don't know how you guys are operating. Magic. So that was interesting. It was a fun, I really enjoyed that. I love big machines, Paper mill is one big machine. And so I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed working with the people, really a lot of good people working there, who really wanted to, a lot of them didn't have what I would call standard work type appearance, in the paper mill,
So what did you,
tattoos and things like that, but they were great folks, and you get to know them, and it was one.
So what did you do before the paper mill? Like do you have an engineering degree of some kind?
I do, yeah. I mean, starting way back then, I have, a degree in industrial engineering. I had worked, for a division of EG&G as a customer service rep, then an applications engineer, then a sales engineer. Went back to school, then came back out and worked for a consulting firm that was located in Topsfield, Mass. I looked over there because it's that way about 8 minutes. I could ride my bicycle to work, so that was pretty good. But then, I had the opportunity that we were consulting for both manufacturing and government things, and it wound up getting more and more government and less manufacturing. That wasn't really scratching the itch. So I learned of this opportunity at the paper mill, and so I joined there. So I was at places a long time. I mean, it was EG&G for, 6, 7, 8 years. I can't remember. But, for a young guy, that was a while to stay. Then, I was 12 years at the consulting firm, and another 11 plus years at the paper mill. So
well, that's great. You've got a very full background that you bring to MEP then.
Yeah, that, it helped. I have a kind of an appreciation for all of the things that folks deal with, I think. So have a lot of sympathy for people who are having difficulties in that, which like to try and help them as long as they can pay us.
So, so tell me, your time here at Mass MEP, what's your favorite part of the job? Like what's your passion about the job? What's your driving force?
Well, really, it actually started. I mean, even my dad was in manufacturing all his life. He ultimately bought a company, and I really kind of sensed that you can't have a 200 million at the time, now 330 million people, all flipping burgers and, being in a bank. I mean, not everybody can be a Switzerland. You have to have a broad economy and you have to manufacture things. And I love manufacturing. I mean, I just love the process of transforming, something in the rough to a finished product and everything that goes with it. So dirty manufacturing places never bothered me, really.
Well, it's great to hear that you have such a passion just for the industry in general. That's wonderful. How about at home? Like or in your personal life, what's your passion there? What's the thing that floats your boat, Mike?
Wow, is that a softball there? Well, I am a sailor. That was another thing. My dad was in manufacturing all his life. He was a sailor all his life, and
Really?
I think I was in diapers when I first started sailing. So I just love that. I always had some type of a sailboat, various sizes. Usually they were smaller, like 20 footers, something like that. But ultimately, I bought a 36-foot sloop. Okay,
Wow.
and for many years now, and really enjoyed that. So I uh, just I love that. That's the kind of recreational thing, and a lot of outdoor activities. But other than that, I love to read. I love history. I kind of lock in on different time periods. I was all in on the Civil War for a long time, read everything I could find on it. The founding of the United States was another one. Kind of did some dabbling in ancient history, Greek, Roman, where did civilizations come from? That fascinated me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is something I definitely did not know about you. So that's pretty cool. All right. So now we're to my favorite part of these interviews, which is for you to please tell us 3 things about yourself, and 2 of them are supposed to be true, and 1 is one that you're going to make up. Okay? And you're not going to tell us which one is made up because we're all going to do the guessing game afterwards.
Okay, no problem. So 1, I am on the no-fly list for the TSA. Number 2, I almost drowned. Number 3, I crewed on a boat in the Newport Bermuda race.
Cool. I love this part of the interviews. I think these are really fun things to try to figure out about people. Well, this has been great this afternoon, Mike. I want to thank you so much for your time, and it's certainly been a pleasure to get to know you better.
Well, Lisa, you're an excellent interviewer. I think I really think the networks need to hire you.
Oh!
I think we need some real talent out there. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful weekend, and this was hardly painful at all.
Great. Thank you very much, Mike.
All right, you take care.